I'm author Elizabeth Ann West, and you have stumbled into Collaborating with AI, Robots in You, which was the subtitle came from Eric Uggland, if you've met him. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with your action items. Your action items for the completion of this class here is to join the AI Writing for Authors on Facebook group. You can also follow a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel with the Future Fiction Academy. I can also recommend The Nerdy Novelist. He's a member of the Future Fiction Academy. He does some really great twists on our prompts and innovates his own stuff as well. And also AI Writers Connection. That is a great channel that focuses on screenplays and AI. Then we're also going to play with Diet Rexy. You'll get that at the end of today's presentation. And then finally, if it makes sense for you, we do have room in the Future Fiction Academy, and you are welcome to join if you'd like to join us on the bleeding edge of AI. So let's go. You'll see that again at the end too, don't worry. Today's agenda, what can AI do? And more importantly, not do. We're gonna talk about vocabulary. How many of you have been working with AI and you've heard words you don't know the meanings to? Yeah, guess what? We're making up the words as we go along, and that's still happening right now. We're going to talk prompting tactics. This is beginner, intermediate, and advanced. There will be something for everyone. And then we're going to talk about some advanced topics. And lastly, we'll play with Diet Rexy with your phone. So, a little bit about me. I speak robot. I first published in 2011. I do not do slideshow karaoke. There is a link to this in the 20Books Vegas group, so you have that link and everything like that. More importantly, I worked with Sudowrite for a little bit. Now I have my own school. I published my first book with AI in 2021, December of 2021. And there's an email address. You'll see it at the end too. Okay, let's play a game. A bird flew. I need some volunteers. Just raise your hand. What could be another word that comes after flew? A bird flew. Yes, ma'am. Hi, a bird flew high. So let me write that down really fast. Anyone else got another word? Yes. I'm sorry? Into, love that preposition. And then somebody said away, and one more. I'm sorry? South? South, I like it, I like it. Okay, so our words are high, into, away, and south. Now you get to vote. Who likes high? A bird flew high, raise your hands. Okay, a little bit. A bird flew into. Okay, wow, all right, that's very good. A bird flew away, okay, and a bird flew south. I think the clear winner was into, and that's exactly how a large language model works. Congratulations. It literally chooses the very next token. So, the AI cannot think. How many of you have played with AI and you think that it's thinking? I mean, I've been tricked with that too. Yeah, it feels like it, right? There's actually a whole psychology about humans and how we will apply different psychologies and things like that, like we'll anthropomorphize things. How many of you stubbed a toe on a piece of furniture and blamed the furniture? Yeah, so that phenomenon is what allows us to think that the AI is thinking, but I assure you it does not. What it does is it was trained on billions of pieces of data, everything from public domain and stuff on the internet, and also now we know a corpus of books that was not okay. I hope money changes hands on that, but I don't control that. And what it does is it selects tokens using vector search. And if you think of it like a galaxy of stars in a compartment, you're able to move from star to star or token to token based on your prompting. So we have to think of it as a very eager assistant and that this is a partnership, okay? All right, so let's talk some vocabulary because we love words. I don't know where my image is. Why is it gone? Okay, there's a really cute image there of Wednesday. I don't know where it went. But a token is a piece of language, usually about 4 letters. It's the basic building block of a large language model. So when you hear me say tokens, that's what the AI thinks in, that's what the AI deals in. Who knows the conversion rate of 1,000 tokens to words? Anyone? Yes, in the front. 750. 750 is your magic word. 1,000 tokens equals 750 words. If that's confusing, use a calculator. We all do. Context window. How many of you heard context window? Yeah. All right, so context window, all that is it's all the tokens an LLM can process in one prompt. Now that includes the prompt and the completion. How many of you have played with AI tools and it's like, I can't complete it because I ran out of context window. And you're like, what? Yeah, that's the context window. You just stubbed your toe on that. The biggest right now, as of yesterday, is 128,000 tokens. Who knows what model that is? Yeah, the new GPT-4. You guys are great. All right, and finally, system, the header part of a prompt. It's often available in certain interfaces that call to the API. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that it doesn't think and talk about what your responsibility is if you're going to write with AI. Okay, this is very important. Narrative logic. How many of you have tried to get AI to help you write a book and you're like, that thing does not keep the details straight? Exactly. That's because it's dumb. It is. So we do have to keep the narrative logic. So even with a context window of 128,000 tokens, and that sounds bangerang, it can only write back about 2,500 to 3,000 words. That's the max it's going to write back. How many of you have been frustrated that it won't write back to you more? Like you're like, I want more. Exactly. It's not you, it's the AI, and we have a whole slide about that. Number 2, your job is to be creative with the AI. So you're going to control that prompting and the hyperparameters. On the YouTube channel, we have a whole bunch of videos about hyperparameters, about changing that temperature, changing that presence penalty, changing that top P. If I'm speaking a foreign language, don't worry, it's like knobs on the stereo. If you can remember changing the treble and the bass on your stereo, you can change the temperature and the top P on your LLM. I promise, you will not blow up the world. So the same prompt with different models or settings can actually yield vastly different results. How many of you have run the same prompt before and gotten like wackadoo nonsense? Yeah, exactly. It's not you, it's the AI. Finally, layering. That is also your responsibility. You decide when to run that prompt again, or to run a new prompt, or edit yourself, or as we like to say in the FFA, don't be a T-Rex. Now, what is a T-Rex? It means you forget that your hands can reach the keyboard. All right, so learning how to collaborate with AI is remembering at all times you are the boss. How many of you have been working with it and have felt, I mean, honestly, it makes me feel stupid sometimes. It makes me feel like I'm doing it wrong because it's not doing what I want it to do. And I can assure you, it's not you. It's literally working with this new technology, and we all run into that. I will run a prompt and it's not right, and I have to fix it. Okay, I'm so used to teaching and being like, any questions now? But that's not this method. All right, so let's talk about prompting. I've been teaching prompting for almost a year now, and lots of people have great methodologies out there. This is a very simple framework to get started, and it's called Do, What, How. So we're gonna take a look at that. So writing a good prompt. Good news is most prompts are simple and clear in their instructions, and all of you are language experts. Truthfully, y'all are better prompters than some of the engineers that I have talked to because you fundamentally understand language and nuance in language. So you can pat yourself on the back, like you've got this. So you don't actually need magic words to prompt the AI. It actually works best with the same instructions you would email a human. So read this list of characters. Here are the details I want added. Make sure it reads well for this audience. Add any pizzazz or ideas you have. That's an important one. One of my techniques with prompting is I always interview the AI about whatever task I want to do. So, for example, if I want to build a marketing plan, I would actually ask the language model that I was going to use for that and say, hey, what do you know about marketing plans? How should I prompt you to make a marketing plan? Has anyone ever asked the LLM, how do I prompt you? Exactly, and it works, right? It may not get it exact, but it's going to clue you in on the keywords that you need to know to put into your prompt to get that result that you want. Or my favorite here, I need this many, like a little kid. Okay, so ask the AI if they understand the task and ask it to explain to you what it understands. That's another good prompting technique to use. And finally, use words with no ambiguity. This is something I show on YouTube. Okay, I'm checking my time, making sure I'm okay, so we have plenty of time. Okay. We have no bananas, right? We have no bananas. That means what? We don't have any bananas, right? The bananas are gone. The word no in there is a specific token number. I think it's actually 612. Don't quote me on that one, though. And then the next sentence, you did the dishes, no? Are those no's the same meaning? No. But guess what? They're the same token number. And that is why large language models often get confused in your prompting. If you're using language that could have more than one meaning, you can't control which meaning it's going to take from the context. Okay? It's like prompting a toddler to get their shoes on. Go get your socks. Go get your shoes. Put your socks on. Put your shoes on. You're still late for the movie theater. Okay? All right, so advanced prompting for my advanced prompters. How many people here would classify themselves as intermediate advanced prompters? Heck yeah. Okay, y'all didn't need all that beginner stuff. Sorry. All right, mega prompting. It's also called context stuffing. What does Jason call it? Nerdy novelist, like super prompting. Super prompting. Yeah, it's all the same thing. It's about taking prompt elements and placing them in square bracket tags like this, so you'll see characters. And then in the middle of there is where I would put like my character names or the character information. Now let's talk about these square brackets. I like to call them Tupperware containers. We do not like mystery leftovers when we are prompting the LLM, okay? No country crock, containers out there and you don't know if it's mashed potatoes or mac and cheese, all right? So we want to use containers. Sorry for the microphone thing. I'll just move that down. There we go. We want to use containers because that helps with context, okay? A lot of times we're writing prompts, and if you don't put it in a container, it's like me talking to you and saying, Anna, Tom, Dick, Tracy, Madonna, and you have no, what? Are we playing a game? You don't know that those are characters in a story. You don't know if those are people on a hit list. You have no idea. So context, putting them into Tupperware containers is very important. Now, some people might ask, Elizabeth, why don't you just use JSON script, right? Because AI just said, one of the announcements yesterday was that now it'll output JSON script for you. Did anyone watch the Sam Altman and everything like that? I thought it was interesting. I actually don't recommend JSON script for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you prompt in JSON script, you're very likely to get JSON script back. How many of you had that happen? It's like, no, I want a scene. I want a novel. I need a chapter. I don't need code. So that's why I suggest using square brackets, because mathematically speaking, those are usually arrays, and it's an array of information or a list of information inside that container. But truly, you could use parentheses, you could use curly braces, or as I call them, squiggly bits, and that'll also work. Chain of thought. How many of you have experimented with chain of thought prompting? Okay, fewer hands that time. They can include mega prompts. It gives the AI information, and then it asks it to make a plan, and then do the task. On the Wednesday before I came here on our YouTube channel, I wrote 23,000 words in 3 hours, and they were good words. Like, they are pretty much like final draft, you're just cleaning them up. Kept narrative logic, it was great. But the methodology I use for there is mega prompting, and then I tell it to make a plan to write the scene and then write the scene. How many of you are asking the LLMs to make a plan to do the task and then do the task? How many of you are going to start doing that? Exactly. You are my people. All right, this is my favorite slide of the whole presentation. It's not you, it's the AI. Okay, so there's some fundamental things that happen when you're collaborating with AI that I wish they put warning labels on, because honestly, the documentation on these things, garbage. It's worse than stereo instructions. I need to talk to OpenAI about their documentation. So hallucination. How many of you have heard about hallucinating with artificial intelligence? How many of you still struggle to realize that it's not you, it's the AI in that moment? Anyone still get frustrated? Yeah, I literally make a placard to remind myself, this thing is just wrong sometimes. So it is a dictionary slot machine. We just showed that a little bit with a bird flew over, or a bird flew higher or south or anything like that. If it picks one token, especially like a token that was a low percentage token, because maybe you have your variance up high, or you have your presence penalty up high, or your temperature up high. If it picks that one token that's off, that's like that 3% token, guess what happens to the whole rest of the response? You are committed. You are on that ride. Best example I can give you is I was writing with Claude, with Karen Brown, and I had done 5 chapters, and I was doing the methodology of read the story so far, now write the next chapter, here's your information. Well, somewhere in chapter 6, my heroine developed a heroin addiction. And it was because the prompt said that there was criminal background and all of that, and like it, I was impressed. Claude was like, he found the track marks on the inside of her elbow because they're having, they're having sexy times. And I'm like, Claude, they've already had sex twice in this book and there was no track marks, so she did not suddenly develop those. So we had to do a re-roll. Talk to me after about a better anecdote about why we're not going to get replaced by the AI. The sandwiches, exactly. I'll tell you guys after. All right, so it's not you, it's the AI. It doesn't know that. How many of you run into that? You're just using the wrong word. It just doesn't understand. A lot of the training data stops. Like, it stops when the training data stops, and that's what you know. But there's one little aspect of that, a little nuance, asterisk there. There's a couple of models out there that are real-life human feedback. How many of you have heard that? RLHF. Yeah, sounds really cool. ChatGPT, and I think even Claude is still now using real-life human feedback. They may say that they're still just constitutional-based, but I beg to differ. How many of you have gone to the LLM and a prompt that worked yesterday was fine, and then today it says, I can't write fiction, but how about we have an ethical discussion about literature? Yeah, right? And that's because they're in there and they're trying to tighten the screws about the jailbreaking and all that other stuff. I can't remember who keeps saying it, but it's really funny of like when it goes off the rails and like, do you feel safe now? So at the Future Fiction Academy, we are really big on using not safe for work models, which are the open source models. And I have a little demo tool for your phone in just a few minutes that you're going to get to play with those. And finally, are you clear? Okay. One of the biggest mistakes I see in prompting is that there's a contradiction in the prompt. Okay. And what happens is last instruction wins is what I'm calling this, or it could be, garbage in, garbage out, or first in, first out. But the last instruction wins means that whatever you put at the bottom of your prompting, that is probably the most important instruction that's going to happen. Did everyone know that? Got that? Played with that? Yeah. All right. So yesterday's announcements, right? Oh, and we're doing good on time. Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to rehash those announcements. I'm just going to kind of share with you a little bit of my thoughts on this. 128K. Woohoo! Woohoo! I've been waiting for this. We had 16K before that, 32,000 tokens even before that. 16K was with GPT 3.5. This does bring it in line with Claude 2.0. However, and I'm going to say, welcome to the race between Anthropic and OpenAI. Who can remember the fights between Apple and Microsoft, right? Yeah, who won? We did. Hopefully we win again. But the downside, still can't write sex or violence. I mean, it can kind of a little bit sometimes if it's in the mood, but for the most part, if you try to prompt GPT-4, it's going to say, nope. I say GPT-4 is actually better than Claude. Claude just refuses. GPT-4 will at least like put it in red and say like, hey, this is a problem, and you have to click and see it. So 128K I think is great. However, it's not going to click a button and give you 100,000 words. It just means that it can read 128,000 tokens in one prompt. Now, large language models read those tokens about as well as you and I thumb through the book. It doesn't understand what's more important. It's not assigning importance or anything like that to the tokens it read. Every token is equal, which if you're thinking about a book, that means the article the is the same weight or importance as the word, the name of the character. So that's why sometimes just shoving it with a bunch of information, you get garbage out because it can't synthesize. Remember, AI doesn't think. It just seems like it does. Custom GPTs. How many of you have trained an LLM? Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's like three hands, by the way, for those who can't see. Training an LLM is not easy to do. It's kind of like reverse Jeopardy. You all know the Jeopardy game, right? You get an answer and then you have to come up with a question for it. That's literally what training an LLM is, slice by slice by slice, millions upon millions that you're doing. Now with fine tunes and stuff, you can actually do it with fewer instances of that information. So I'm really excited about this development, and that's something I'll be working on in December and into spring. So I'm excited for that. Copyright shield. Now I'm going to put something here with a caveat. These, again, just my thoughts. They announced yesterday that OpenAI would defend anyone who has their enterprise or their API if you are sued for plagiarism. However, I'm going to put a caveat on that, and that is, I think it's only going to cover like if the AI hallucinated and plagiarized. If you yourself, this is completely unethical behavior, and please don't do it. If you take someone else's writing and you just throw it into the AI and ask it to rewrite it, you're just scratching the serial numbers off, which is something we've had a problem with long before AI was ever a thing. That's still plagiarism, that's still unethical, and a pox upon you, is all I'm going to say. So please make sure that when you're prompting responsibly, you're prompting your own thoughts, your own ideas. Don't pee in the pool. This is why we can't have nice things. All right, and finally, Gains and Whisper 3 and assistance. I'm really excited about this. Just at this conference alone, a good friend of mine showed me how he has an AI virtual assistant who talks to him, and he can write a book while he's doing the dishes. So I think that's going to be a lot of gains as well. So no more, I don't have time to write excuse, and that's even me for me, Elizabeth. So, all right. So authors say, I just wanted to share this little bit of information about what authors have said about writing with AI. This comes from our students at the Future Fiction Academy, and I was really grateful for them to share some of this information because these are the things that are being talked about in private groups, in private, quiet areas, because we can't be public about it. So 30 to 100%. That is the range of words published in a book that is AI with minimal AI editing. I know someone very well who has published a book with 95% of the words being artificial intelligence, and they still made a really good paycheck with that in the first 30 days. So I'm not going to ask for hands, because we're not about that, but I just want to let you know that it is okay that there are people out there who are validating the artificial intelligence words. They're prompting in a way that they are satisfied with the outputs. And remember, they're working in slices. There is no magical click a button, get a book. I am working on that because I will be damned if we don't have that technology. I will not let corporations lock us out of that. I want indies to have that ability. I don't want us left behind. So, 4 to 5 stars, that's the average ranking of the books published with AI for Future Fiction Academy members. So they're publishing books with AI in them, and their readers are loving it. There's the myth that AI books are just garbage or always garbage. Correlation does not equal causation, people. Are there terrible AI books? You betcha. There's also terrible books out there with no AI in them, and have been for over a decade or more, like since the dawn of publishing. All right, and then that all-important money, because that's what we're here for, right? 20 books to 50K. Authors reported earning hundreds to thousands of dollars on books published with AI in them in the first 30 days. My own book, A Test of Fire, that I published in December of 2021, I shared these numbers last year. That book made over $10,000 in its first month, and it does have about 30 to 40% AI in it. All right, so these are also some of the other things that I thought was important for our group here today. Authors say, one of the things I enjoy about AI writing is that it is non-judgmental, right? AI writing tools do not criticize my writing or make me feel bad about myself. This is why I don't do critique groups. Instead, they provide me with feedback and suggestions that I can use to improve my writing. This has helped me to become a more confident and capable writer. How many of you have gained confidence working with AI? I know I have, like 1,000%, yeah. AI doesn't drive the story. You are the human still controlling the narrative storytelling. The richness of storytelling can still be within an AI-assisted story because you lead it as the creative director. And then finally, it's given me a new life to my writing. I love the creativity aspect. All right, we're doing good. So I have like 2 more. I have 1 long testimonial, and then we're going to start prompting. This next one that I'm sharing, it is a longer testimonial. I promise you, I did not write it. It comes from one of our members, and I thought about pulling sections from it, but I couldn't decide. So I want to read it to you guys in its entirety, and I think that it's a really good way to end this presentation before we go to prompting. I started a new pen name, and the first book blew my expectations out of the water. I was aiming to an extra $500 a month to my royalties from that pen name. The book made 3 times that in the first month. Reader reaction has been very strong. They love the book. The book would not exist if not for AI, which means readers in a small niche would not have had the chance to read and love it. I'm a full-time author with a successful pen name in another category, and I never had time to write outside my current lane, even though I wanted to. To maintain my income, I can't jump around from genre to genre because it takes me so long to write and publish 1 book. AI allowed me to dabble in a new genre without risking my income, and more importantly, it allowed me to delight and provide for readers who would otherwise never have gotten this book. The book, and subsequent books, yes, would also not exist without me. The book was fully directed by me, beat by beat, chapter by chapter, in the way that films belong to the director. So I think of books created with AI. You need to understand the craft of writing to get gold out of AI. AI is not about lazily pushing a button and getting a book out of it. The human element is crucial and always will be. Don't be afraid of AI. It's a tool, a powerful tool, and one that I think will lift human creativity and joy to new heights. So that was from one of our Future Fiction Academy members, and I don't even know which one it was because I didn't collect email addresses on purpose. So if they're watching this, thank you for sharing that, and I hope you guys understand why I shared that in its entirety. Did anyone feel a resonance with some of those words about serving readers in genres that don't get books? We see it all the time, right? Okay, it's prompting time, and we have 21 minutes. I love it. Everyone's getting out their phones. This is great. So yeah, get your phone out. Yes? What did I do wrong? Zephyr's down. Okay, don't use Zephyr. All right, so we're going to play with some free AI, and if you're watching from home right now, welcome. We love you. We're sorry you're not here. Maybe next year. So you're going to want to go to dietrexy.futurefictionacademy.com, or there is a QR code that the wonderful Steph Pajonas made, and you're going to see for yourself some simple prompts and how they change based on model. So if we'll all go to it. I'm not going to show my phone unless we need to. So hopefully everyone's following along. So if you just pop in there, it is going to ask for your email address. Now, I'm an author, okay? I make my living with my books, just like the rest of you guys. You'll hear from us like twice. You'll hear from us like, hey, did you like the tool? And probably a little bit later like, hey, was there any questions you had? That's it. Like, we're not going to spam you. I'm not going to sell your email address or anything like that. I've got books to write. Oh, and it will also send you the output. So putting your email address in will send you the output as well. We just crashed it. Oh my goodness, yes we did. Well, good job us. So let me show you a little bit about Rexy. I had a backup plan. So Diet Rexy looks like this, and you guys will all be able to play with that, maybe not all together at once. In our defense, we didn't have 300 people to test this with, so I'm kind of impressed that we crashed it. Our developers back there were giggling. We were so afraid this was going to happen, but it's okay. We got 19 minutes. Y'all know I can do a lot in 19 minutes. All right, so I'm actually going to show you our Rexy tool, so you can see it right here. This is not what you have on your phones, but that's okay because I can give you a quick little tour of Rexy, and this is what we built by writers for writers. It integrates with Notion, so let me go ahead and show you the superstructure page as well. So it's gonna go straight into my Notion. For those of you who follow on YouTube, you've seen this before. I'm pretty sure I did the Orc Mafia romance one, is what I loaded here. Yay! That was a fun couple of weeks. So let me go to Orc Mafia romance, and we'll go to auto write, and we'll come back to Rexy. You're not supposed to understand all this, don't worry. But just to make it so that you guys can see it, I'm gonna put 20 books to 50K as what it's going to auto log. All right, let's play. So the first thing that we ever had in Rexy was this idea of a prompt library, and I think that this is actually very important for our industry. We plan to have this be open source for anybody else who wants to work with us on this or wants to contribute, but we're putting forth this kind of idea, and it's just a proposal, of having basically like a Dewey Decimal System for our prompts. So that way, if Kevin has prompts on world building and I have prompts on world building, we're just shoving them in our 200 file. How many of you have prompts that have been lost to the ether of your Google Drive? Right? Yeah, the struggle is real. So we came up with these these categories, and that way we could start having some organization. Because guess what, everyone? Who wishes that they were there? If you were already there, no. Don't raise your hand, but who of you wish you were there in 2010, 2011 when indie publishing started? I was there, so yeah. This is your opportunity to be there. You're there. This is the beginning of writing with AI, and we get to decide how this works, what this looks like, what we're doing as a group. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some ideas and inspirations, or how about some world building? Let's do some world building for our Orc Mafia romance. Now, once it loads the prompt, and yes, this is double click, but that's because it's functionality over pretty. You get the prompt right away. So all of our members get these prompts. I share them on YouTube all the time, and you'll see that there's these placeholders right here where it says, given the genre. Are you guys able to read that? And the ideas I have so far, please make me a detailed report of all story world elements that would be needed to write a series of books, including examples in that story world. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the genre of, this is Orc Mafia romance, right? Wait, actually, does anyone have a genre idea? Throw it out. Amish science fiction. That wins the whole day. All right. Let's go with some ideas. What are some ideas for this Amish science fiction? Let's go. Say it loud. Yes. Wood starship. I'm here for this. Wooden starship. Laser pitchforks. And I heard one other person over there. I have the ability, but not the capability at this moment. Let me do this. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I know how to do that. There we go. Voila. Okay, so one other thing. Anybody else? I'm sorry? Beard force fields. You had me at beer, and I was like, what Amish are you talking to? Beard force fields. Okay. Nuclear milkmaids. Okay, I'm drawing the line at nuclear milkmaids. That's a bridge too far. Okay, So we have a bunch of different AI settings here. So in Rexy, you can actually choose all of your different models here. And you'll notice that we have AWS Bedrock. That is how most of our members are accessing Claude API. How many of you wish you had an API key to Claude? Yeah, now you can with Bedrock, but then you need somebody who can code, like our Joseph Yu, and that way you can use it. Because I don't code, I just make it work, like with prompts. Okay, so let's go with GPT-4, and we don't actually have the 128 in here because we have it in our production. This is actually Baby Rex. This is our bleeding edge one, so it actually has the new chat tool in here. So let's go ahead and take this prompt for a spin. Let's use a crazy model, shall we? How about we use Mythomax? Who likes Mythomax? Yeah, right? It's kind of like my favorite open source model. So this temperature, 1.00, I'm actually going to knock that temperature down to about 0.8 because I really wanted to listen to my instructions. The higher your temperature is, the more creative and random it can be and not listen to your prompt. And we'll go ahead and update that. And we'll go ahead and run Griff Mythomax, and it's gonna stream right here in the lower side, and I'll read some of it out loud. Title, we got the Amish stars. Okay. It's a setting in the future where Amish people have developed advanced technology and have expanded their presence to outer space. The story takes place on a large wooden ship called the Keystone. Now that is on brand. I'm impressed. Jacob, the protagonist of the story, a young, curious Amish man who dreams of exploring the stars and discovering new worlds. He has a strong sense of duty towards his community, but also yearns for adventure. Eli, Jacob's older brother and the captain of the Keystone. He's a wise and experienced leader who guides the Amish colony and in their exploration of space. Oh, Eli's wife and a skilled medic on the ship, Anna. Then we have Samuel, the ship's engineer. I love that they're picking like traditional Amish names and just making them the entire fleet of the starship, right? This is great. So I think it's already done because my little man's not running anymore. So let's go to the completion mode so we can actually see this thing a little bit easier. And actually, I don't want to do that. I'm going to show you the real trick, what I love about Rexy the most. I'm zoomed in, so it's not actually this bad. All of that wrote already to my Notion already. How many of you hate copying and pasting? Yes. So you can actually get into a flow state with Rexy, which is very, very critical if you're going to write with AI, I think. I hate copying and pasting. So let's see here. We have alien species, some friendly and others hostile. As they venture deeper into the unknown, Jacob learns more about the advanced technology that the Amish have developed. Okay, that's like laser pitchforks and beard force fields. The setting on a wooden spaceship. Okay, I love it. We're going to work with it. So here's what we're going to do. We have characters. We have a story world. Who wants an outline? Yeah, so watch this. My completion, I'm just going to click S1 and save it to my S1 slot. And now, in our elements over here, and this is kind of the last thing I'll show, we got 12 minutes, but I want to open for questions. So my S1 slot here, you'll see it's saved the entire completion. No copy and pasting. Now, the next thing I want to do is come up to my library again, because it has that library of prompts. If world building's in the 200s, our plotting prompts are actually in the 400s. So we're going to hop over to there. And all of this methodology you can actually do by hand, by the way. I know I'm showing you Rexy, but it's not my intention here to be a commercial. It's just because it's faster. If you watch the YouTube channel, you can literally use these prompts and copy and paste to your heart's delight and put all those elements in and run it into ChatGPT-4, run it into these models and everything like that. Let's do an act structure from ideas. I like that idea. So we have this. Now our ideas right here, squiggle bits, S1. That's all I have to do. I don't have to copy and paste all that information. It was saved in my session 1, my save 1 slot, and now it's going to bring it into the prompt right here where it says ideas. And what plot structure do we want? How many acts? 4 acts, science fiction 4. Good, we feel good about this? All right, 4 it is. We'll click save. And then just for Michael Anderle, because he said in the previous panel that he can't get Claude to work, we're going to use Claude. So let's check out AWS Bedrock, and let's go ahead and do Claude version 2. Now, Claude's a little bit different from the other models because it has this parameter called top K, which I assure you, you cannot reach in the Claude chat. This is about accessing it through the API. So your top K actually cuts off the percentage. So it's going to cut off the low 5% of tokens that it could consider. If I want to kind of tighten that up a little bit, let's go ahead and make it 25. So it's cutting off the low 25% of tokens out of my results. And our temperature is fine and all of that. So we'll go ahead and update. Yes. Oh, Mythomax is an open source model that you can use on Hugging Chat or openrouter.ai. And it's like, Joseph can correct me on the pricing or what. What did we figure out? It's like, what, 1 million tokens for $1? Yeah, so that's 750,000 words, people, for $1. And that's what got us Jacob in the Keystone, okay? Crazy, right? Not safe for work. A lot of my job now is like, how well does it write a blowjob? How well does it write a torture scene? That's what we do with every single not safe for work model. Thank God we don't have an HR department. All right, so let's go ahead and process Claude version 2. And so here we go. Here's a detailed 4-act outline. Take that, Michael Andrely. I told him you just had to be nice to Claude. All right, opening scene showing daily life in the Amish colony aboard the Keystone spaceship. Introduce Jacob yearning for adventure. Jacob's brother Eli announces a new mission to find a planet to colonize. Jacob volunteers to join the mission against Eli's wishes. Conflict. This is why a lot of us like Claude. Claude naturally he seems more creative. He doesn't think, but it feels like he's more creative. He kind of is in that realm. OpenAI feels a little bit more clinical to a lot of us. Does anyone else kind of have that same impression? Yeah. So we'll finish this up here. It wrote to Notion, which I love. And there's so much more functionality about Rexy that I could show you. You can actually sequence prompts. You can use it as a chat and everything like that. And all of these tools are available out there with Poe and Suitorwrite and all of that. We've just brought it all in under one tool because I would get frustrated of having to switch tools and having multiple tabs open and everything like that. So, okay, so let's validate this. Let's see if we think that it's a good place. Now, we're not looking for this to be finalized. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. We're not looking for this to be finalized. This is the junior writing partner. This is the intern who has turned in this outline, okay? So it's your job to go through and beef this up and be the senior writing partner. Bring your creative powers to this. So the Keystone departs on its journey. Jacob eagerly exploring the ship. A malfunction forces the ship to land on a strange planet for repairs. Is everyone seeing how the large language model is integrating that conflict in there? Yeah, it's got inciting incident. It knows what to do. So this is also a really great help for new authors, okay? I'm not suggesting don't read your craft books. Read your craft books. Study your craft books. But working with artificial intelligence can actually speed up your ability to learn creative writing because it gives you so much material for you to validate and for you to change and go, this is terrible, this is horrible, oh, this is good. It allows you to have that time to practice a lot faster and iterate than it would be if you had to sit there and do it longhand like the rest of us did in the 90s and the 2000s. or earlier than that. All right, we have 7.5 minutes left. Is anyone playing with Diet Rexy? Did he come back up? He's up, okay. All right, so back to Diet Rexy. Once you put your email in, and everyone will see my email, it's fine. It's available to everybody on the freaking planet, including the Amish. Yeah, space opera Amish. Oh, I think it doesn't like me. I need to probably refresh. It probably was just stale. It's running. And everybody hopped on, I know, right? I think we didn't account for all the people at home who might be watching. You know. All right, well, we do have 6.5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, right there in the front. No, so you're only limited by the context window, and that's really, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Could you take your question to the microphone, please? Oh, if it's not working, I'll just repeat it for you, I think. Does it have a word limit like Suitorwrite? So Suitorwrite is a fantastic tool. I really am proud of the time that I was with them, and we build amazing things. And I think it's a great first tool for a lot of authors out there. So even Suitorwrite doesn't really have a word limit. They're working in the same limitations that we have, which is a context window. So basically, depending on the model you're using, and we all learned context window, right? Context window is prompt plus completion. So some models have a teeny tiny context window, only 4,000 tokens, which is about 2,000 words. Other models have a bigger context window, your Claude, your GPT-4. I was there when we were working on Story Engine. Let me tell y'all, 100,000 token context window did not exist when we were working on Story Engine in March, right, Ryan? So I know that Sudowrite has a lot of great things planned, and they're expanding some really cool things. So Rexy does not have a word limit, but neither does really Sudowrite. We're all working inside of the context windows. With Rexy, you do have a little bit more, you have a lot more customization abilities. It's not for everyone. It's not for beginners at AI, I would really say. But you can actually take advantage of the full context window with Rexy. You have full control. Right next.
Is there a way to feed your book to the AI to help generate a sequel?
That's a really good question. If you want to say it into the, I think Jessica has the microphone.
Just speak straight into it. Okay. Is there a way to feed your book to the AI that will help generate a sequel?
That's another great question. Yes, and at the same time, absolutely not. So you really need to drill down that previous book into a format that the artificial intelligence can understand. My recommendation is to actually take that down. I call it a story constitution, story Bible, but Bible's, not a neutral word. Story constitution, we actually have prompting in Rexy where you put a chapter in and it'll drill down the characters, the settings, and the plot points. If you put all that together, you're probably looking from a 50,000 word book down to something that's probably in the 3,000 to 5,000 word range. Now you have something that's small enough, but all the important details that the artificial intelligence can go, oh, these are the plot points you're missing. This is what could continue in the next book. So take your book, put it in the format that the artificial intelligence can understand, and then ask it to help you write that sequel. Another thing to do is to pre-plan. So if you don't have a book out yet, ask the AI to write you a trilogy. It can do that plot, it can do that. It can plan out the plot over 3 or 4 books. I think there's another question.
Yeah, I'm kind of a knuckle-dragger in a lot of this stuff.
No, welcome.
In general, with the AI, is it accessing from our prompt and from the overall internet?
Not most large language models are not. So inside of ChatGPT now, you can get the internet again. With Rexy, we don't access the internet because we're the senior writing partner, so we just kind of do that separately and bring that information in. But if you brought in like a bunch of facts into your Notion page and then put that into a prompt, you would be able to run with that information.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, great question. I think we have time for like 1 or 2 more questions. We have 3 minutes left. Yes, Ryan. I think prior to using AI, and I'm not trying to speak for all authors, but those of us who maybe first... Oh, that's a good question. Sorry about that. Could you give him the microphone so I could ask it again?
My question was just, what's the number one thing that people who've never used AI might misunderstand about what it's actually like using it and incorporating it into their process?
Yeah, so what I was going to say for that is I think the biggest misconception we have when we first start is that we think that it's, okay, I'm gonna out myself here. I thought it would be easy. I thought it would be a lot easier. I was like, thank God. I'm a dictator. I used to dictate my books because I have posture-related injuries in my neck. So actually sitting at a computer and typing causes me physical pain to where I have to have physical therapy and all the other jazz, and yeah, y'all know it. So I was really hoping that there would be, could you show the slides again, if you don't mind? I just have your action items up again for you because we're running out of time here. So I thought it would be easier. And I think all of us, when we started working with AI, did we all kind of learn that it was a lot harder than we thought it was going to be? It is not push a button and get a book. We've been lied to. And I want to add to that, I love Sudowrite, I love Poe, I love Typing Mind, I love Rexy, of course. I'm a little bit biased there since I'm Rexy's mama, but I would say be wary and help our fellow authors out there. There's a lot of internet marketing scam people who are trying to put stuff out that are like, write a book in a day. And are you guys seeing those ads? Really help people to understand that a lot of those are scams and a lot of those are just like, yeah, by book they mean a 3 to 10 page book and it's like 500 words. So it is very much like the wild, wild west of the early days of indie publishing. So I would say be mindful. I hope I answered your question, Ryan, that yeah, we think that it's gonna be easier and it's not. So again, the last bit of your action items, I've got 49 seconds because I'm always on time. Join the AI Writing for Authors on Facebook group. Steph and I are admins there, so is Kevin and Danica. We are here. Show of hands, who's a member of the FFA or a founder of the FFA? Look at those hands. Those are the people to talk to after. So there's that. Follow a YouTube channel. You'll thank me later. Watch it on your lunch break. As you watch it, you'll start to get the vocabulary. You'll start talking in this foreign language just like me. Play with Diet Rexy. Again, it's dietrexy.futurefictionacademy.com. He'll be up probably for the entire month of November, if not past that. And then finally, if Future Fiction Academy makes sense for you, again, this is not a commercial, but I'd love to have more authors with us on the bleeding edge and really pushing the limits of this stuff, because there's a lot of work to do, and I can't do it all. And I know we can't do it all. So thank you so much, everyone.
Elizabeth, one quick question from our online at home. Somebody wants to know really quick, does the subscription to FFA/Rexy include token usage costs?
No, everything's a bring your own key model. I am not going to be responsible for your AI running. Thank you.